will winning organisations look like in 18 months' time? Well, clearly, they'll have got through the recession, and that itself is not just a mark of honour, it's often the very basis for long-term success. If you look at today's winning companies, very often they've gone through a recession, and that recession is a great time to consolidate, to focus, to really think about what's important. And as we think about what will these companies look like, these winning companies, in 18 months' time, I'd like to make 3 predictions. First is, in my view, organisations that will thrive now and thrive over the coming years are companies that have learnt to be cooperative. Now, that might seem a rather odd thing, and you may be thinking, well, surely competition is the way that organisations will succeed. But interestingly, that's not the case. In fact, what we found is that organisations that build cooperation between functions, between businesses, even out to their stakeholders and partners, are those that are going to win in the long term. But building cooperative relationships isn't just what's required to win. The second thing I think we're going to see a great deal more of over the coming months is a focus on networks. And by that I mean that increasingly, particularly during the recession, organizations think about, where their products are coming from, where their customers are, and that really requires them to form great networks, but also networks that link into people who are very different from the majority. And the reason that's important is that during a recession, organizations that thrive do so because they're innovative. They innovate their products, they innovate their services, they innovate perhaps the way that they build and manufacture. And innovation comes when 2 ideas that haven't been brought together before are now brought together. And that requires networks that jump across boundaries. So the second thing I would say is that organizations that thrive in the future are going to be great at building valuable networks. But there's one more prediction I would make, and that is that as we move forward, increasingly employees and customers are going to be drawn to organizations that are exciting and have what I would call ignition. And by that I mean they have a vision that people find exciting, they have a question that people really want to work on, or they have an idea that really gains momentum and traction. It could be a question like, how do we put a computer in every child's hand? It could be a question like, how do we produce a car that costs $2,000, the nano question? Doesn't matter what the question is, but I think increasingly successful organizations will be there because they intrigue, excite, and inspire others.